People often wonder why humans remain deeply fascinated by dangerous weapons. Do the claimed lives make a sword beautiful? Or does its sheer beauty kill? Humans perish, yet the weapons remain. And one day, these weapons will truly rule over human lives. Our desert story begins. Hired mercenaries are currently searching for the demon sword named Zoltuin. Legends state that whoever wields this blade will gain immense power. Seiya, Aikju, and Miura have arrived for the Shoshidai organization to quickly retrieve the weapon. This unique sword stands above all others, as it was forged using blood from 1,000 demons. Aikju cautions Miura to stay alert, because if the sword enchants him, a dark demon will take full control. Aikju hopes Miura never becomes the 1,001st demon. The legend of Zoltuin traces back to Rome, making it nearly 2 millennia old. Back then, a fierce barbarian army attacked a small village outside the great Roman Empire. Defenseless villagers were brutally and swiftly slaughtered by the invading forces. The desperate village priests pleaded with the gods for salvation. The silent heavens ignored them, so they turned to dark demons instead. They sacrificed village sheep and prayed directly to the dark forces. Answering their dark prayers, the demons sent a knight. The weapon carried by this knight was undeniably Zoltuin. As the knight unsheathed the sword, it roared like a wild beast. The battle ended almost instantly. The terrifying demonic aura radiating from Zoltuin completely destroyed the approaching barbarian horde. The grateful villagers thanked him, but they forgot one detail. They had actually prayed to a demon. The knight arrived not to save, but to annihilate every living thing. Although this grim legend filled them with dread, finding Zoltuin was their assigned job, so they bravely pressed on. Before long, the group unearthed a grand burial chamber resembling a mausoleum. Light seeped through the cracked wall. When they finally broke through, they discovered the legendary sword Zoltuin inside. At that exact moment, Seiya and Miura arrived by aircraft with an armed squad. The men inside fired warning shots, loudly demanding their true identities. Miura showed absolutely no fear, introducing them as agents of Shoshidai, the powerful organization strictly responsible for managing all legendary weapons worldwide. He commanded the group to surrender Zoltuin, but they completely refused and immediately resorted to using lethal force. While his men desperately fought, their leader slipped away to steal. But the moment he touched it, the sword's dark demonic energy entirely consumed him, stealing all his control. After the outside situation was handled, an armed team rushed inside to secure Zoltuin, but every single one of them was killed by the sword. Aikju had no other choice but using drastic measures to reclaim. Miura secured the sword inside a sealed containment case, and their important mission concluded. They returned to the organization's main headquarters, a secure facility housing many ancient and legendary swords. Reflected in the shining blade, he almost saw the tortured faces of victims. That exact quality made it so breathtakingly beautiful. With the mission complete, Aikju returned to his hibernation pod, knowing this cold sleep would be an incredibly long one. After Seiya finally departed, Miura stood silently staring at Zoltuin, a very strange smile crossing his face. That night, diligent Shoshidai agents continued their vital work, collecting legendary weapons from others. One such weapon suddenly burst into flames, completely engulfing an entire ship offshore. Meanwhile, Miura started hearing a strange voice calling inside his head. Believing it was Zoltuin, he entered the storage chamber and removed the sword from its case. Aikju's worst earlier fears had become reality. By the time others arrived, Miura had completely fallen under the sword's dark control, brutally slaughtering everyone standing nearby. Elsewhere, Takashi finally returned home to his deeply pregnant wife, Wakaba. In one short month, they would become parents, having decided to keep the baby's gender a complete and joyous surprise. Takashi enthusiastically bought gifts for both boy and girl. Elsewhere, the cursed sword Shoryu had grown extremely bloodthirsty again. Resident monks desperately performed the Hama ritual to purge Shoryu's fierce killing intent. But tragically, the blood sacrifice was overwhelmed by the sword's dark energy. Another horrifying bloody massacre unfolded. Even so, Shoryu's immense thirst for blood remained completely unsatisfied. It drove the host into town to continue killing. Tragedy violently struck when Takashi and Wakaba became victims of cruel fate. Takashi was killed. Wakaba barely survived, but having witnessed everything firsthand, she was utterly consumed by immense rage. She violently glared at the swordsman with hatred. The possessed swordsman suddenly regained his consciousness, and seeing how many people he had violently killed, became overcome with terror and panic. The sword Shoryu slipped from his trembling grasp, falling down. Wakaba grabbed the sword, ending him. As police arrived at the brutal massacre, a fearful Wakaba fled into a corner. Soon after, Shoryu fully possessed her as well, driving her to seek blood. Before she could fatally strike a mother holding a child, she regained her senses and fled. She desperately wanted to drop it. She failed. Miura was completely surrounded on bridge. Shoshidai agents commanded him to abandon Zoltuan and surrender immediately, but having transformed into a powerful Busoma, he mercilessly obliterated their approaching tanks without hesitation. As Shoshidai ordered a massive attack on Zoltuan, the warrior Flambridge arrived and easily finished off remaining tanks along with surviving enemy soldiers. Both demonic swords called each other ceaselessly. Existing solely to fight and destroy stronger foes, both powerful beings transformed and launched directly into fierce battle. The mighty Zoltuan claimed victory and departed triumphantly. Wakaba, unwilling to murder, gave birth to her innocent child and then chose to end herself. A man discovered the baby clinging tightly to the sword, literally grasping for life. That infant child was Guy Ogata. Time passed, and Guy was raised by Amon alongside young Sayaka, working inside the old forge. Today, Sayaka attended school as usual, but throughout all her classes she simply could not concentrate. Her busy mind was completely filled with Guy. During break time, her close friends invited her out. They also excitedly asked her to join a new karaoke place that recently opened near the train station, but she politely declined them. Earlier, Sayaka received a romantic confession from Ishia, but she firmly turned him down, clearly stating she simply lacked time for a relationship. Ishia was the handsome soccer captain, top of his class, and the ultimate dream boy of every girl. The shocking fact that Sayaka rejected him drove her friends completely insane. They thought her crazy. All Sayaka could really do was laugh and apologize. Riding the bus home, she carried deep unspoken feelings that she could not articulate yet. Stepping off the bus, she accidentally bumped into Tatsumi, who was currently running errands for Sayaka's father, his master. Walking back, they encountered Guy. Sayaka eagerly wanted to talk, but Guy quickly walked off to chop some charcoal. Sayaka abruptly left Tatsumi behind, hurrying right after Guy. She sincerely thanked him for the rescue, having absolutely nothing to discuss with Tatsumi. She happily invited Guy to the new karaoke place her friends mentioned, but he firmly refused, citing work. Sayaka grew increasingly irritated because Guy was always consumed by work and never socialized. She bluntly claimed that living like this meant he would never succeed. This struck nerves. Guy felt extremely furious, but kept it totally hidden, simply telling Sayaka to leave. Stubborn Sayaka snatched the sharp knife, forcefully insisting he come play with her. In his blind anger, Guy accidentally hurt Sayaka. Witnessing this injury, Tatsumi flew into a massive rage, slamming Guy to the ground. Although Sayaka desperately tried explaining, Tatsumi unfairly placed all the blame on Guy. Guy never protested. He just bowed and apologized. At that tense moment, Amon stepped outside, refusing to pass judgment on them. He calmly announced tomorrow's upcoming plan to perform Shoryu's calming ritual. He ordered Sayaka to properly cleanse herself, preparing for her holy shrine maiden role. Afterward, he escorted Guy to his mother's grave, the exact place of birth. Guy stubbornly refused to kneel before his mother's grave. Amon had buried Wakaba on this hill overlooking the entire area where Guy lived, ensuring his mother could always watch over her beloved son. Amon raised Guy for over a decade, teaching him absolutely everything he needed. Now he wanted to hear about the boy's future. Guy promised to stay alongside Ammon, devoting his entire future to the forge. Ammon had fully expected this answer, so he simply reminded Guy to work. That evening, Guy went completely alone into Shoryu's dark resting room. He truly regarded this sword as his mother. Tatsumi silently happened to witness this. Inside a lavish building, an auction for rare treasures was underway. Mickey attended the auction to perform an official organization mission, although he appeared much more interested in enjoying the food and drinks. Marcus was also present, and the two men chatted amicably. During their conversation, Mickey carelessly raised a wine glass. The auctioneer mistook this for a bid, accidentally awarding him a Buddha statue for $130,000. Since this mistake wasn't planned, the organization refused to cover any costs, meaning Mickey must pay out of his own pocket. Following the auction, guests were escorted to another room to preview items for the next session. Among those previewed items was Sword Azoth. Mickey's actual mission here involved verifying whether this sword was authentic. Mickey felt the trapped demon inside the blade laughing. Marcus also deeply desired the sword because it once belonged to the legendary alchemist Paracelsus. The story began when 16th century Paracelsus formed a dark pact with a demon to perfect his alchemy. In exchange, he sold his eternal soul away. Using the demon's forbidden knowledge, he finally perfected the Philosopher's Stone, origin of all matter. He broke it. The demon, extremely enraged beyond all measure, sought every possible means to destroy Paracelsus, but Paracelsus actually ultimately emerged as the victorious one. He embedded the Philosopher's Stone into a sword, completely sealing the demon within, and that weapon became known as Azoth. Marcus confirmed its authenticity because he also heard the dark demon laughing loudly. Tatsumi quickly told Ammon about seeing Guy touch Shoryu, but Ammon dismissed this completely since it posed absolutely zero harm. Ammon then shared the surprising story of how Guy was discovered. Back then, the tiny infant grasped Shoryu tightly, acting as if the cursed sword offered him ultimate protection. Ammon truly believed Guy was exactly who Shoryu had been seeking. This was exactly why calming the dark blade required Guy's blood. Guy never actually watched people. His eyes only observed swords. Therefore, he constantly walked right alongside dangerous death. Guy successfully reached an existence very few ever attain. Next morning, they began the essential calming ritual for Shoryu. Everyone there was required to safely cover their eyes. Guy dripped his blood to calm Shoryu down. At this critical moment, Tatsumi refused to accept Guy being chosen, so he quickly removed his blindfold to observe what was happening. The inner demon quickly seized control of Sayaka, forcing her to attack Tatsumi, but Guy heroically shoved him safely away just in time. Tragically, his right arm was severed. Immediately after that brutal strike, Sayaka collapsed completely unconscious. Though rushed to the hospital, Guy still felt intense pain from his lost arm, suffering an incurable phantom agony. Sayaka remembered absolutely nothing about the bloody ritual. She just held Guy for comfort, but he violently pushed her away and sprinted to Wakaba's grave, angrily clawing the earth and screaming about the woman who had abandoned him. Later, Ammon decided to use Shoryu to forge a new arm for Guy, which was exactly what the Dark Sword secretly desired. During the next exclusive auction, Marcus confidently bid $500,000 for Sword Azoth. After quickly consulting his organization, Mickey aggressively raised the bid to $1 million. Marcus stubbornly refused backing down, continuing to raise the price. They fiercely battled back and forth until the bid reached $1.5 million, forcing Marcus to finally concede. Having successfully finished his mission, Mickey quickly headed toward headquarters, but Marcus aggressively intercepted him midway there. Marcus angrily demanded Mickey sell him the sword, threatening to send deadly assassins if he dared refuse. Naturally, Mickey completely refused to compromise, prompting Marcus's hidden men to attack immediately. Mickey defeated them swiftly, yet escape remained impossible because he became the new target of Zoltuan. His superiors desperately ordered a retreat, but Mickey drew Falgon and prepared for battle. Suddenly, Guy jolted completely awake, possessing his new arm. Mickey displayed absolutely zero fear while bravely confronting Zoltuan. However, finding himself deeply disadvantaged, he was forced to unleash the mighty thunder sword Falgon to safely escape. A massive lightning bolt struck from above, completely blinding everyone nearby. Although he barely survived, Mickey discovered the sword Azoth missing. Meanwhile, Guy silently examined his strange new hand under moonlight. Shiryu never stopped urging him to kill, but Guy remained completely unswayed by the temptation. He completely failed to understand why Ammon grafted Shiryu onto him. Ammon patiently explained that Shiryu was Guy's guardian sword, now serving as his right arm for continued lifelong protection. He instructed Guy to channel his guilt into forging a sword far surpassing Shiryu. Guy firmly resolved to fulfill Ammon's words, even risking his life. Sayaka felt absolutely overjoyed seeing Guy steadily recovering. However, Guy thought Ammon was foolish for sacrificing Shiryu for him. He believed he never deserved this sacrifice. Seeing Shiryu's scabbard, Sayaka assumed her father wanted Guy to forge a perfectly matching replacement sword. Instead, Guy broke the scabbard and tossed it into roaring flames, declaring the unique Shiryu could never be faithfully remade. Even though Guy bravely saved his life, Tatsumi felt absolutely no gratitude. Instead, his bitter jealousy only worsened because Guy now possessed Shiryu. Ammon understood his feelings, but considered swords mere tools, firmly believing that a human life always mattered far more. Because Shiryu possessed an independent will, a deeply mysterious fate permanently bound the two together. Ammon eagerly wanted to observe Guy living with Shiryu attached forever. During 40 years of smithing, he never forged a blade that provided him with true artistic satisfaction. However, if Guy embodied that sword, the boy himself could ultimately become his long-awaited ultimate masterpiece. As he slept, the dark demon from the sword Azoth suddenly appeared right before his eyes. Marcus jolted awake. Grabbing the weapon, he vividly recalled Zoltuan and Falgon's fierce battle. This powerfully reinforced his belief that ancient sorcery teachings were never just fabricated myths. Incredible magical powers beyond human imagination still existed here today. Completely driven by bitter revenge, Marcus fiercely resolved to seize that limitless power himself. While lost in dark thoughts, his sister interrupted, dragging him downstairs for a family dinner. His happy family seemingly loved and cared for him deeply. He felt absolutely no joy though. These people were merely hired actors playing roles, and he was now completely sick of this entirely counterfeit family. He dismissed them. Marcus sat completely alone before the lavish dinner table, tears streaming down silently. Later that night, Marcus desperately performed a prayer ritual with Azoth, yet the cursed sword remained silent. The Shoshidai organization was actively investigating absolutely everything regarding Marcus's hidden past. He previously studied at the Imperial University, but 2 years ago, a terrible holiday traffic accident tragically killed both his parents and his younger sister instantly. Marcus himself was left completely paralyzed from the waist down, lacking any hope. Suddenly, without any prior warning, Erica arrived at Marcus's door. He repeatedly tried contacting her before, but she consistently ignored his messages. Marcus clearly knew Erica returned to marry Toshio, his once closest friend. Though acting incredibly cheerful and offering his blessings, he secretly felt pure inner anguish. They once shared wonderfully joyful times together. Marcus desperately wanted to make those traitors pay. Azoth sensed his intensely burning hatred and quickly appeared to grant his sinister wish. The very next day, when Sayaka returned from school, Tatsumi was impatiently waiting nearby. Truthfully, the deeply resentful Tatsumi schemed to steal Sayaka because their strict master clearly favored Guy. Luckily, Guy arrived perfectly on time to intervene. Tatsumi used Guy as a convenient excuse for his actions, angrily charging forward to fight. However, Guy easily sent him flying using Shiryu's power. The bloodthirsty Shiryu relentlessly urged Guy to kill Tatsumi. Sayaka's frightened voice quickly pulled Guy back to reality. Later, Shiryu's dark voice continued echoing inside Guy's tortured mind, driving him toward sheer madness until he nearly destroyed his new arm. As Sayaka quickly rushed over, Guy realized the dark voice finally fell silent. Toshio and Erika's wedding happened in complete secrecy. Just before they exchanged wedding rings, a furious Marcus arrived. He boldly entered the ceremony hall and slowly stood on his feet, completely stunning everyone present. At the Agata household, Kiyomi finally finished sharpening the legendary spear Tonbakiri, bringing it back to Master Ammon. Because Ammon was absent, she simply left the sharpened spear with disciples. A sneaky Tatsumi lurked nearby, secretly overhearing their entire private conversation. Returning to the tent ceremony, Marcus's eyes burned with pure unadulterated hatred. Lunging toward the couple like wind, Miki unexpectedly appeared to block the fierce strike, allowing them a quick chance to flee, but an enraged Marcus caught them almost instantly. Right at death's door, Erika frantically shouted Marcus's name, instantly bringing his possessed mind back. He collapsed onto the cold floor, sobbing entirely uncontrollably. Miki approached him, offered genuine comfort, and invited Marcus to join the secret organization. Even returning alongside Miki, Marcus simply could not stop crying. He felt horrified for nearly murdering Erika, the single person he loved most. In brutal truth, Azoth's dark magic fully controlled Marcus, leaving his newly regained consciousness with absolutely zero memories. Tatsumi secretly unwrapped the deadly spear Tonbakiri to closely examine it, becoming immediately possessed by its evil. Miki brought Marcus to Shoshidai, a safe sanctuary meant for people like them. Inside, they would enter deep slumber. While Guy chopped wood, Tatsumi violently ambushed him without warning. Tatsumi had fully transformed into a monstrous Busoma, beyond salvation. Seeing Tatsumi's horrifying monstrous form, Sayaka immediately fainted right there. Even transformed, Tatsumi kept his bitter obsession to surpass his old rival Guy. Miki warned Marcus that despite remaining stable now, it was only a matter of time before they also became Busoma. Anyone fused with a weapon had their inescapable fate sealed. The only question was exactly when. Marcus desperately begged Miki for friendship. Unexpectedly, Miki revealed he already considered him a close friend. Despite Tatsumi's relentless assault, Guy stubbornly refused to use Shoryu to fight back, quietly enduring tremendous pain throughout his battered body. Guy furiously struggled against Shoryu's dark, overwhelming temptation, but his iron will was rapidly deteriorating. Screaming like a demon, his right arm twisted violently, rapidly morphing into a terrifying, deadly blade. His mental control shattered completely. Guy violently hurled himself at Tatsumi with absolutely inhuman fury. By the time Ammon arrived, he found only Sayaka lying completely motionless upon the hard forest ground. Guy and Tatsumi fought their way deep into the dark forest. Guy fiercely stabbed Tatsumi's bleeding side, forcing him to retreat immediately. However, the deadly chase continued onward. Meanwhile, Keoka formally introduced Marcus to the Shoshidai leadership, who officially agreed to place him under their constant protection. Simultaneously, Miki was taken for a medical examination. Miki's transformation had increased by 2%, yet no dangerous anomalies were detected. These results surprised everyone. Researchers discovered a weapon within a host gradually lost its physical structure, yet miraculously remained captured in medical imaging like a lingering ghost. The Shoshidai leaders explained to Marcus that they were actively researching how these weapons invaded and controlled vulnerable humans. If successful, they could revert Marcus from a chrysalis into a normal person, entirely eliminating his risk of becoming a Busoma. They eagerly questioned Marcus about what happened while Azoth possessed him, but his memories remained incredibly hazy. Before he even understood the situation, the sword rested in his hands. It seamlessly merged into his body like a perfectly natural occurrence. The leadership firmly believed chrysalis hosts held untempered potential for humanity's shared future. Marcus ultimately possessed no choice except joining them. Only they could save him, so he would help save mankind. In another room, Mina continued running tests on Miki. Both excitedly anticipated the day Shoshidai completed their complex research, so Miki could finally become completely normal again. Miki constantly feared Mina might find another man while he slept, since resting inside that pod felt exactly like sinking into darkness. He truly desired an ordinary life. Watching movies together, sharing quiet meals, taking long walks and freely going on dates. During their conversation, Kyoka called Miki toward the weapons vault, feeling quite uneasy because Marcus was currently standing in there alone. Miki and Mina shared one passionate kiss before departing. That night's moon bled red. Guy and Tatsumi ruthlessly hunted each other into the city, leaving many dead behind. Ultimately, Guy violently drove his sharp blade straight through Tatsumi. At that exact same moment, Shoshidai equipment successfully detected both Guy and Tatsumi nearby. Returning to headquarters, an emotional Marcus immediately threw himself into Miki's arms, loudly crying upon seeing him. Kyoka opened the weapons vault for Marcus when High Command sent urgent orders. She quickly left Marcus with Miki and rushed away because a brave scout who discovered Guy had launched an attack. During that very split second, Tatsumi unexpectedly regained his consciousness, forcefully kicked Guy and fled. Consumed by unbridled rage, Guy completely slashed the helicopter down, sending it crashing in flames. Kyoka could not effectively determine whether Guy was a chrysalis or Busoma. After completely regaining his scattered senses, Guy dragged his thoroughly exhausted body home. Shiryu suddenly went completely berserk, seizing Guy's throat. It tried dragging his soul toward darkness. Amon bravely fought holding it back, sustaining painful injuries while saving Guy. After a violent struggle, Shiryu finally relented. On his end, Miki gave Marcus a guided tour, explaining the nature of cursed weapons. These sentient armaments carried their own living wills. They devoured fury from fallen victims, though nobody understood why they easily manipulated human minds. Shoshidai routinely placed vulnerable chrysalis hosts into deep slumber, specifically aiming to prevent them from mutating. However, just as chrysalises inevitably become beautiful butterflies, these people would also eventually transform into Busoma. Upon fully transforming, they completely lose their will, becoming mere weapon extensions. Leaving nothing except their immense desire to kill, another brutal massacre had occurred. Zoltuan successfully infiltrated a prison and brutally slaughtered every inmate, gleefully feeding on their intense hatred like a massive grand feast. Sometime afterward, Miki and Marcus were safely put into hibernation, while Aikju was finally awakened again. Tatsumi hid inside the forest, gravely wounded. During his crazed frenzy, he viciously attacked animals and passers-by, satisfying Tonbakiri's massive thirst for blood. Sayaka desperately searched everywhere for Guy, finding him locked safely inside. She attempted talking to him, but he behaved completely silently and strangely. After carefully observing Guy's strange actions, Amon realized the boy regressed into childhood. Perhaps Guy deeply feared Shiryu's massive power now that it fully merged inside. He tried escaping his grim reality by retreating backwards. Aikju finally emerged from his cold hibernation pod after 16 years and days. Knowing he faced a highly important mission, Aikju wielded the legendary chakram, the divine weapon belonging to Vishnu, the absolute supreme Hindu deity since creation's dawn. Aikju truly was a literal god-child, standing above all others. The heavy iron headquarters gates swung open. Aikju swiftly climbed inside a sleek supercar, rapidly speeding far away. This became Kyoka's very first time working alongside Aikju, though she heard greatly about his legendary chakram. Ancient Indian epics described an old kingdom, earning divine wrath from a sacred, glowing light ring. A divine messenger descended, severely punishing the sinful king. That divine light completely incinerated everything it touched. Historical rumors claimed the messenger's luminous, deadly ring actually was the chakram. It was abandoned by gods, worshipped by fragile mortals, then permanently sealed away as highly sacred. The chosen warrior currently wielding the chakram was Shoshidai's ultimately strongest chrysalis, Aikju. That evening, Sayaka happily prepared Guy's absolute favorite dish, only discovering his completely empty room. She searched the forest. He sat smiling before a stone statue. When heavy rain began falling, he cried like a child. Remembering her wise father's words, Sayaka sat comfortably beside him, gently coaxing him toward home. Amon delivered a sword toward old Kaijutsu, who loudly showered him with high artistic praise. But Amon still seemed dissatisfied. His ultimate lifelong ideal meant forging a blade completely capable of cutting someone's inner mental sword. While drinking tea, they discussed Shiryu. Amon firmly believed only Shiryu could successfully cut the dark blade within Guy's mind. According to ancient swordsmith traditions, masters always created two identical swords, eventually selecting the superior version. Amon reasoned that if two existed, Shiryu was definitely the weaker pair because it completely lacked an inscription. That logically meant the stronger version remained out there somewhere. At the Fujishu sword polishing workshop, Haida and Kiyomi were quietly polishing old swords together. Both completely agreed that a Japanese sword's absolute most beautiful part remained inside. In the West, many swords featured elaborately decorated hilts, but a blade's true, raw beauty existed solely for brutal killing. The katana perfected killing art. Becoming infinitely sharper increased its staggering beauty. The absolute mightiest weapon bearing the most exquisite beauty was the Japanese sword, and their sacred craft meant polishing that beauty towards its absolute limit. Kiyomi was deeply obsessed with Japanese swords, able to identify the original iron sand and forging methods simply by gently running her wet tongue across the blade. She literally begged Haida to slash her with freshly polished swords anytime. Sayaka happily altered one of Amon's yukatas for Guy's festival attendance. Sayaka herself changed into a beautiful yukata patterned with delicate butterflies, totally unaware someone secretly watched her tonight. Sayaka excitedly took Guy to the festival. The bright venue was adorned using dazzling decorations, while busy crowds bustled through countless games and food stalls. Everything there felt completely new to Guy. Sayaka happily led him through multiple fun attractions, winning a massive mountain of prizes. Later that evening, Kiyomi received a mysterious client. They claimed urgent hurries, leaving behind very generous cash payments. Upon opening the hard case, Kiyomi discovered the inner sword was Shiryu. She immediately began polishing it tensely. Despite her absolute best efforts, Kiyomi could not escape Shiryu's control. She swung the sharp blade at Haida. He stumbled backward multiple times until the cursed sword forcefully struck the family altar, sending heavy ancestral portraits crashing down, instantly jolting a terrified Kiyomi back to reality. She immediately ordered Haida outside the room, continuing her work. The sword constantly demanded much more blood. Having absolutely zero remaining choices, Kiyomi offered her own blood to appease. Zoltuan, strictly guided by Miura's fading memory remnants, successfully found a quiet theater and gently played the beautiful piano piece Miura truly loved. Meanwhile, the fiery sword had also arrived. They were deeply kindred spirits, cursed swords born within mythic ages. The fire sword had lost to Zoltuan before, becoming intensely determined to reclaim its lost honor. Grimm's and Arnie's stood atop a massive building, quietly observing them. Grimm's was called the death god since mankind's very dawn. He believed the Busoma age was approaching, ensuring humanity would be forcefully cast into hell. Once again, the fire sword spectacularly fell. Sayaka brought Guy to pray, hoping the gods would watch over him. On their return, Tatsumi unexpectedly blocked them. By now, he fell entirely under weapon control, driven by a solitary desire killing Sayaka. Shiryu quickly deflected Tatsumi's fierce attack to protect Guy. Because Guy fully regressed into childhood and lacked fighting willpower, he was easily thrown far aside. Sayaka panicked, rushing toward Guy's side, but the next instant Tonbakiri hoisted her upwards quickly. The sharp spear pressed directly against Sayaka. She loudly cried out, begging for life. Aikju suddenly arrived just in time, swiftly severing Tatsumi's arm with the chakram, saving Sayaka. Although Tatsumi was once human, he became nothing more than a pitiful monster enslaved by his weapon. Tonbakiri forcefully commanded Tatsumi to grab the spear using his remaining arm, charging Aikju. Meanwhile, Kiyomi's mysterious client unexpectedly returned for the sword the exact moment she finished. Kiyomi felt utterly drained. Her wounded arms bled heavily from feeding the hungry blade. Haida asked the mysterious client about the sword's dark origins, but he merely smiled and walked away. Tatsumi aggressively slashed downward again and again, but absolutely no strike could ever touch Aikju. He became completely consumed by Tonbakiri's power and remained entirely beyond any possible salvation. The only thing Aikju could accomplish was a swift ending. Aikju bound Tatsumi tightly, utilizing his chakram. On Guy's hand, Shoryu began to tremble involuntarily. Within one instant, Tatsumi and Tonbakiri completely dissolved into water. As Aikju finally prepared to leave, he unexpectedly realized his designated target was actually Guy. Aikju turned backward, firmly fixing his blazing red eyes upon him. Without speaking any words, Aikju approached Guy, punching him hard. Guy burst into loud tears, wailing about telling his mother. Sayaka quickly rushed forward, standing firmly between them, shielding Guy. Aikju paid her absolutely no mind, brushing her aside. He violently grabbed Guy's collar, fiercely demanding his true hidden self. Old Kaijutsu surprisingly appeared nearby. One single glance was entirely enough for him to instantly recognize Aikju. They sat down to talk quietly. Aikju completely continued strictly observing Guy's mental condition. If Guy retained self-control, Aikju would immediately bring him away. However, if Guy became Busoma, Aikju possessed zero choice but execution. Kaijutsu clearly knew about Shoshidai, but also knew the secret Gabai organization. Aikju completely dismissed them as children playing games, acting as nothing but annoying obstacles. Soin, an active member of Gabai, genuinely disliked hearing those words. Using demons to slay demons constituted heresy. The completely righteous path required humans destroying Busoma personally, and he was currently hunting one. However, Aikju considered Gabai's entire operation merely ants foolishly trying to topple large chariots. Soin desperately wanted to eliminate Aikju immediately, fully knowing he would inevitably become a Busoma himself. Kaijutsu harbored absolutely zero intention regarding stopping their upcoming fight. Any clash between Gabai and Shoshidai remained exceedingly rare, leaving the old man intensely eager. Aikju remained entirely unaware Gabai possessed secret arts from the unconscious Kempo school. They completely emptied their minds, successfully channeling raw spiritual energy directly into their flying fists. Soin forcefully launched himself forward, brutally driving his heavy fist directly into Aikju. Aikju felt genuinely surprised facing Soin's sheer physical power. He certainly hadn't expected ever needing his chakram against an ordinary human. During the intensely heated moment, Guy spotted something sinister emerging from the ground, violently lunging towards Soin. He quickly kicked a hard rock at it, forcefully compelling its immediate retreat. Soin easily detected swirling demonic energy surrounding Guy, quickly shifting focus to handle him first. However, the hidden Busoma lurking inside Soin's dark shadow suddenly surfaced, brutally killing him instantly. It then aggressively thrust its razor-sharp deadly spear toward Guy, successfully inflicting a painful wound. The strong metallic scent of fresh blood violently roused Shoryu instantly. It completely seized absolute control over Guy, forcefully driving the heavy blade cleanly through the enemy's shattered skull. Aikju deliberately held back, intensely wanting to observe Guy's genuine, terrifying power firsthand. Guy ruthlessly swung his blade again, forcefully cleaving the writhing monster completely into two pieces. However, it incredibly survived. It desperately unleashed one final desperate strike before quickly seizing an open chance for fleeing. Aikju genuinely wanted to personally verify whether Guy had already transformed completely into a deadly Busoma. He brutally struck Guy down utilizing the heavy chakram. That massive blow effectively snapped Guy back toward conscious reality. Aikju prepared to aggressively press his fierce attack, but Kaijutsu desperately clung tightly onto him. Sayaka effectively seized this golden opportunity, quickly helping the injured Guy successfully escape. Aikju felt furious enough to execute Kaijutsu right there, but prudently held back. He knew he entirely needed the eccentric old man to successfully locate Guy. Kaijutsu finally brought Aikju to meet Amon, seeking detailed information regarding Guy and Shoryu. Guy and Sayaka sought temporary refuge inside a deep forest cave, a familiar place they frequently visited during childhood. Guy's deep physical wounds miraculously healed quite rapidly. Shiryu also successfully sustained various injuries while fiercely protecting him. The dark cave stirred old memories of Guy constantly running away as a young child, only to pathetically return every single time because he truly had absolutely nowhere else remaining. What Guy desperately ran from was the overwhelming darkness. No matter how exceptionally far he fled, it relentlessly clung tightly, actively trying to destroy him. Regardless of his immense struggles, escaping remained forever impossible, so he firmly decided to fundamentally change his mindset. Guy deeply desired forging a legendary sword completely capable of severing reality itself, forever ending the darkness constantly haunting his tortured soul. This terrified Sayaka. She firmly believed that even if escaping darkness proved impossible for Guy, bright light still existed within this world, but Guy absolutely refused seeing things her way. His grim world and Sayaka's remained completely different, ensuring their fundamental perspectives could never truly align perfectly. Although genuinely grateful toward Ammon for dutifully raising him, he never actually saw the old man as his real father, nor considered that household his true family. Hearing those harsh words left Sayaka feeling incredibly deeply saddened. Among master swordsmiths, an old legend circulated claiming the sword Shiryu wasn't actually forged using human hands, but entirely crafted by a mystical dragon. During the Middle Muromachi period, located near the capital, a sacred shrine supposedly housed an authentic dragon's horn. A corrupt priest eventually hatched a completely wicked scheme. Conspiring alongside a woman, he successfully stole the ornate box securing the dragon's sacred horn. Upon eagerly opening it, a majestic dragon suddenly appeared. A brilliantly glowing light beam forcefully plunged straight into the terrified woman's mouth. She instantly became magically pregnant, birthing a strange child, but the poor infant possessed dragon scales, eyes, and small horns, so they coldly wrapped it up, casting it mercilessly into the flowing river. An elderly swordsmith miraculously found and kindly adopted the strange child, eventually making him his official apprentice. The old smith's daughter also grew incredibly fond of the strange boy. After some time passed, the elderly swordsmith peacefully passed away. The unusual dragon child proudly carried on his beloved master's demanding forge work. His incredible smithing skills steadily grew until his glowing reputation successfully spread incredibly far and wide. He and the lovely girl happily became family, joyfully welcoming a brand new member. He felt incredibly overjoyed seeing their baby bore absolutely none of his strange dragon features. His legendary fame eventually reached reigning Shogun Ashikaga Yoshiki, who sternly commanded him to flawlessly forge an entirely unparalleled sword. After successfully completing the flawless sword, royal officials demanded he personally present it directly to the shogun. Although his freakish appearance made such a royal audience extremely dangerous, defying the strict order remained completely impossible. Initially, the shogun felt greatly pleased inspecting the magnificent sword, but upon finally seeing the smith's monstrous face, he exploded into blind rage, ruthlessly ordering his entire innocent family executed. Ignoring his entirely desperate pleas, ruthless guards dragged out his innocent wife and child, brutally murdering them. Guards attempted killing him too, but absolutely no sharp blade could successfully pierce his tough dragon's skin. Ultimately, they forcefully exiled him far away into the vast open sea. He personally began deeply doubting whether his very existence was an entirely tragic mistake. Harboring intense dragon fury, he skillfully forged two exceptional swords. He deliberately utilized the weaker sword to successfully take his own tragic life. His immense anguish seemingly flowed directly into the thirsty blade, and the cursed sword violently claimed the shogun's head, completely avenging his murdered family. Following that bloody event, both legendary swords completely vanished without any trace. Ikeju actually wept hearing this tragic story, although he very quickly returned towards his usual icy cold composure. Besides this specific tale, countless others existed detailing innocent children suffering terribly due to evil cursed swords. Ammon truly felt Ikeju strongly resembled Guy, similarly pursued relentlessly by an inescapable darkness. However, Ikju stubbornly refused, revealing his true hidden identity. Akijo awaited them. His previous intense killing intent had completely faded away entirely by now. He simply requested bringing Guy directly into the Shoshidai organization. That specific world represented where Guy truly belonged ultimately. Ammon wisely allowed Guy the freedom to personally decide, although firmly believing the troubled boy fare far better alongside Ikju. Kaijutsu entirely agreed. They genuinely wanted Guy situated within a far more suitable environment, incredibly eager to safely observe whatever he ultimately became. Guy finally agreed, choosing to leave alongside Ikju. Sayaka simply couldn't bear watching him leave, desperately running after them as far as physically possible. Deep inside the Shinmatoba mansion, the powerful second sword Shuryu strangely began loudly moaning, precisely before Ikju returned toward Shoshidai. Ikju personally drove Guy directly toward his own private home, finally reuniting with his beloved wife after 16 incredibly long years apart. Kei visibly aged considerably, whereas Ikju looked exactly identical to before. Their beautiful garden bloomed filled with lovely roses, powerful symbols of magical rejuvenation, perfectly mirroring Kei's desperate wish to simply stay beside Ikju slightly longer, completely despite all their incredibly long years facing painful separation. Kei never actually stayed with anyone else or even considered remarrying, primarily because in her faithful mind, Ikju remained constantly present right there and entirely never truly left her side. Guy predictably began feeling quite confused about everything. Ikju kindly took him for a leisurely walk through the lush rose garden to completely explain absolutely everything. He detailed everything from the horrific fate regarding becoming a monstrous Busoma, extending toward the necessary hibernation protocols at Shoshidai, explaining during their deep hibernation, hosts completely ceased all biological activity while placed carefully inside secure storage. They only experienced awakening whenever absolutely needed. Quite naturally, Ikju remained completely incapable of seeing Kei while deeply sleeping. They originally met during high school, when Kei was merely one single year younger than him. However, shortly after transforming into a chrysalis, Shoshidai placed Ikju into permanent hibernation, entirely stopping his physical body from aging. Shoshidai maintained an extremely strict rule, completely forbidding active members from ever disclosing any secret information toward outsiders, consequently meaning Kei knew absolutely nothing regarding Ikju's strange supernatural situation. Yet she amazingly never questioned anything, faithfully choosing instead to patiently stay and forever wait for his eventual return. After fully finishing his lengthy explanation, Ikju suggested Guy should go far away so he and Kei could enjoy some highly private time completely alone together. The wandering boy aimlessly walked the busy streets completely by himself until a highly colorful poster bearing the bold words, "Sword Soul," quickly caught his sharp eye. The buzzing atmosphere inside felt incredibly electric. On the brightly lit main stage, two highly skilled finalists remained fiercely locked in intense competition. Once Guy quickly realized it was merely an ordinary video game tournament, he desperately wanted to immediately leave, but the tightly packed crowd remained so incredibly dense he simply could not physically get out. Up on stage, Midoriko appeared visibly brimming with absolute excitement. She incredibly swiftly defeated her hapless opponent and gleefully treated the cheering audience below to a lovely idle song. Back safely at the quiet house, Ikju and Kei romantically played the memorable song from their old high school dance that special year, slowly waltzing together. Way back then, an intensely jealous Ikju forcefully knocked out Kei's unfortunate dance partner in a blind fit, only to embarrassingly discover shortly afterward that the poor man was actually her close relative. Ironically, it was that highly awkward little misunderstanding that successfully brought them so closely together. Ikju truly felt a sharp pang of deep sorrow while sadly looking at the aging Kei right now. He gently helped carefully paint her delicate toenails, and they happily reminisced about the wonderful old days. Kei still possessed so incredibly many beautiful places she desperately wanted to personally visit alongside Ikju, and she deeply longed to quickly return toward the scenic lake where they previously made their absolute fondest romantic memories. When Ikju warmly promised her he would definitely take her there soon, A highly delighted Kei happily rushed off to eagerly get completely ready. Just right then, an urgent phone call suddenly came in from her private caretaker, grimly informing Ikju that Kei's fragile health had already deteriorated incredibly severely. A deeply concerned Ikju quickly went directly up toward Kei's quiet bedroom. She lovingly looked at him with beautifully sparkling eyes. She previously thought he actually might be absolutely nothing more than a desperate hallucination or illusion, but strictly as long as he remained faithfully beside her, she genuinely did not care whatsoever. Meanwhile, Midoriko happily returned to the private green room area. Standing in incredibly stark contrast compared to her highly cute and wonderfully friendly public persona on stage, she behaved entirely insufferably arrogant toward absolutely everyone working around her now. Midoriko completely unexpectedly ran right into her defeated opponent once again inside the quiet restroom. Since he absolutely wouldn't ever get another lucky chance to actually see her after their public match concluded, he had been quietly hiding right there solely just to sincerely say a heartfelt thank you. Precisely 1 single year ago, he had been standing directly on the tragic verge of completely taking his own sad life. He had been entirely falsely accused regarding serious issues at his former workplace and subsequently forced to unwillingly resign, but seeing Midoriko's bright, shining smile had miraculously saved his life. Her radiant smile successfully gave him the incredible necessary strength to somehow remain highly optimistic and actively search for a brand new decent job. Within his deeply grateful eyes, Midoriko truly represented an absolute literal angel. However, when faced directly with his highly sincere and completely heartfelt words, Midoriko cruelly reacted with absolutely nothing but sheer utter disgust and viciously hurled highly offensive insults right at his face. Her completely unexpected cruelty left him feeling utterly, entirely devastated. Sometime later, Midoriko actively attended an important scheduled interview. Immediately when it finally ended, she accidentally bumped heavily into her former opponent once more. Mistakenly thinking something terrible had actually happened to her, he genuinely insisted on actively helping her out. Without speaking a single solitary word, a furious Midoriko violently grabbed her heavy handbag and proceeded to brutally beat him with it completely mercilessly, acting precisely as though actively venting absolutely all her pent-up stress and intense frustration directly onto his defenseless body. After painfully enduring it for so incredibly long, he finally unexpectedly snapped completely and violently struck Midoriko right back without showing any shred of remaining mercy whatsoever. The deadly fire sword Flamberg, completely gravely wounded following its embarrassing defeat by the mighty Zoltuan, was highly desperately actively seeking an entirely new suitable host when it luckily easily spotted Midoriko currently being violently attacked. It swiftly flew directly toward her desperate location and expertly seized the perfect exact moment to strongly telepathically urge her to quickly take firm hold of its handle. Midoriko quickly grasped the deadly flamberge tightly and brutally successfully sent the unfortunate man to his immediate bloody end. Kei felt absolutely overjoyed precisely when Ikju finally brought her safely to the beautiful scenic lakeside. For one highly incredibly brief fleeting moment, she genuinely felt exactly as though she had miraculously successfully returned to her energetic youth, but the wonderful joy remained incredibly tragically short-lived. Exactly when Kei finally successfully caught clear sight of her own aged reflection rippling in the clear water, a highly intense sudden wave of physical pain forcefully washed completely over her entire fragile body. A highly deeply concerned Ikju desperately actively wanted to quickly safely take her directly to the nearest hospital, but she weakly begged him to simply bring her directly home instead. Now completely entirely under the deadly Flamberge's dark supernatural control, a crazed Midoriko gleefully actively violently tore right through an entire busy city block. Guy bravely desperately tried to quickly rush right in and forcefully physically stop her completely, but was painfully badly burned by the intense magical flames erupting directly from the dark cursed sword. Shiryu suddenly took full command of Guy, aggressively launching attacks against Midoriko. Shoshidai quickly detected Flamberge's sudden appearance, but completely failing to reach Ikju left them feeling deeply anxious. Meanwhile, Ikju finally brought Kei safely home. Honoring her quiet request, he opened the wardrobe. A beautiful wedding dress hung inside. Kei prepared it long ago, patiently awaiting Ikeju's romantic proposal. Ikeju immediately dropped onto his knees, deeply apologizing for taking so incredibly long before requesting her hand. After waiting years, Kei finally wore the beautiful wedding dress she previously kept ready. Tragically, her life was nearing its end. Although Kei never understood why Ikeju constantly vanished for long stretches without visibly aging a single day, she never once truly regretted deeply falling in love alongside him. Ikeju gently placed a final kiss upon her lips, and Kei passed away peacefully happy. Only after spending beautiful final moments alongside his beloved woman did Ikeju contact Shoshidai, resuming the fight. Outside, Midoriko and Guy remained intensely locked in a fierce battle, and Guy appeared clearly losing. Right before Midoriko delivered her finishing blow, Ikeju unexpectedly struck her back. Together, they returned to headquarters. Both remained completely silent, each carrying a heavy private grief they were unwilling to share. Yasuko lounged comfortably on her lavish yacht, soaking sun, when noticing her water glass missing its fancy gold leaf sent her flying into extreme rage against Billy. Billy quickly offered a completely fresh drink, but Yasuko impatiently ordered him to apply sunscreen instead. They led an expedition, finding Pirate Thriller's hidden treasure. Before long, a diver excitedly surfaced reporting sunken treasure found down below. Together, they hauled a heavy wooden crate onto the deck, prying it. They sadly discovered only cheap champagne. Yasuko violently lost her temper and screamed, feeling incredibly furious after spending massive fortunes hiring renowned treasure hunters only to receive such a deeply disappointing result. At a salon, master stylist Issei could instantly tell by merely touching clients' hair that her life felt messy. While cutting, he relentlessly scolded her for terribly damaging her naturally beautiful hair. Yet the client felt absolutely zero anger, asking him to continue. Ultimately, she confidently walked out sporting a style she loved. That evening, the crew gathered to eat, drink, and share big dreams of their lives after finding treasure. Only the strange professor lacked monetary interest. He truly wanted to observe the hammer Galen. It represented a legendary weapon once wielded by Pirate Thriller, with historical existence dating towards ancient Greece. In those violent times, royal tournaments happened twice yearly under watch. The lucky victor received great honor and immense fortune. Many courageous knights risked their lives competing. As time passed, strange rumors began strongly circulating among knights. The tournament champion always carried one of Galen's swords. Galen remained a humble village blacksmith who successfully forged many highly celebrated blades. One day, a visiting knight arrived. He spectacularly won the tournament using Galen's sword, so naturally, Galen expected his fair share of rewards. Instead, the selfish knight fiercely desired preventing anyone else wielding Galen's weapons, brutally putting the smith to death. Galen's devastated son cradled his father's bleeding body, weeping 3 days and nights. Then the grieving boy heard his father's hammer. The dutiful son obeyed the mystical hammer's call, entering the deadly tournament. He courageously fought his father's murderer. He completely won by loudly shattering his vicious opponent's swords. But the paranoid king, deeply fearful of the hammer's tremendous power, poisoned the victorious boy. The legendary hammer remained severely tainted by poison. It eventually became royal possession, but the family was quickly annihilated. Many theorized that the dark hammer deeply poisoned the king's fragile mind, driving him towards slaughtering everyone. Everyone considered this a terrifying tale. Only arrogant Yasuko foolishly dismissed it as scrap metal. Her singular ambition meant finding precious gold and silver, living an incredibly easy, indulgent life. Yasuko was mysteriously married 5 times, and every single unfortunate husband died. The massive fortune she previously inherited was nearly gone, staking absolutely everything on this hunt. Beyond his immense fame as a hairstylist, Issei actively worked as a magazine photographer. Thanks to Issei, their previous exciting month's magazine issue became a massive, sales-doubling hit. Issei originally chose professional hairstyling because he obsessively searched for the world's most absolutely beautiful hair, entirely intending to brutally murder whoever rightfully possessed it using his very own hands. Years ago, a mysterious woman possessing stunningly beautiful hair brutally murdered his entire innocent family, leaving unforgettable deep trauma. The following day, Dick successfully located the legendary treasure, chest after chest containing gold, silver, and sparkling jewels. But the legendary hammer Galen the professor mentioned remained missing. He felt incredibly certain it existed here. Yasuko confidently stood up seeking Dick, unfortunately discovering he was already completely dead. That specific day, Anis visited Issei's professional salon for styling. The very instant Issei touched her, this precise woman slaughtered his family. Intense, burning hatred rapidly surged like massive tidal waves, desperately making him want to kill her. But outwardly, he kept smiling like absolutely nothing happened. Issei simply continued his work. Meanwhile, Anis surprisingly told him he would soon receive a legendary sword called Neverstigma. The sharp blade harbored snow spirits. Its mysterious origins stretched extremely far backward, precisely when two young countryside men hopelessly loved a beautiful, magical snow spirit. They brutally fought for her affection. The dying loser desperately reached out, weakly whispering final loving words. He wished she would warmly hold his corpse. To fulfill his final wish, the spirit magically stepped upon the solid earth. But he treacherously snapped his own rib, violently stabbing through her chest. He brutally killed her, protecting his jealousy. The dark bone destroying the snow spirit officially became the highly bloodthirsty demon sword Neverstigma. By the time Anis actually finished her story, Issei successfully finished styling hair. Dick's unexpected murder threw absolutely everyone into chaos. They increasingly heavily suspected themselves. Noticing the professor missing, they actively split up searching thoroughly. Upon Yasuko's delayed arrival, two more innocent people died. The crazed professor unexpectedly appeared, violently seizing her throat. He deeply wanted the entire treasure. Billy silently crept up behind, brutally stabbing the professor with fatal blows. Yasuko mistakenly thought she was completely saved, but Billy also selfishly intended claiming the massive treasure alone. After an incredibly desperate struggle, Yasuko fell directly overboard downward. In that terrifying moment, her survival will blazed. The mysterious hammer Galen suddenly appeared, loudly promising immense destructive power if she accepted it. After departing the salon, Issei secretly followed Anis into a narrow alleyway. He furiously demanded knowing precisely why she viciously killed his younger sister, but Anis lacked reasons. She was born weapons. Issei quickly pulled out a loaded gun, firing directly at Anis, but her magical wounds healed almost instantly. Anis informed Issei her strong body housed two weapons, happily gifting one. Issei staggered backward in deep terror, emptying his magazine. But absolutely none of those shots damaged. She drew the demon sword Neverstigma, forcing it into Issei's body. Lacking any living captain, Yasuko's empty ship drifted completely aimlessly across seas. Billy luckily spotted another vessel happily passing by, quickly setting off a bright smoke signal calling rescue. At that exact scary moment, an incredibly enraged Yasuko magically launched herself upwards. Gripping the heavy hammer Galen, Billy felt pure terror. Issei quickly returned towards the salon, resuming his hands involuntarily trembling. His very next client was unexpectedly arrogant Yasuko. Long ago, in a small village near the Mediterranean Sea, lived a young man Kanata. Being the blessed son of a human father and fairy mother granted him incredible magical knowledge and immense strength. When Kanata safely turned 18, his fairy mother proudly bestowed the mighty halberd, an ancient magical realm weapon. When wielded strictly for true justice, it granted immense power. But if improperly used for evil, terrible calamity painfully followed. Kanata entered the chaotic battlefield, valiantly using the glowing halberd for justice, protecting his village. He bravely single-handedly defeated hundreds of enemies, becoming hailed a hero. But upon returning home, Kanata surprisingly discovered his highly beloved Sarah had quickly married a young doctor. Completely consumed by this massive betrayal, he felt extreme jealous rage, viciously hunting and murdering them using halberd. Since that tragic moment, the halberd turned deep crimson, brutally attacking innocent people. Under the dark weapon's absolute control, Kanata mercilessly slaughtered villagers and his parents. Ultimately, Kanata painfully died from sheer exhaustion, but the cursed halberd continued massacring. After finally recounting the legendary halberd's tragic tale, Keoka strictly ordered Marcus and Miki retrieving the dangerous weapon. Their assigned target this time was the Sekio real estate. Shoshidai just safely received reliable fresh intelligence, indicating CEO Sekio Shuntaro had successfully acquired the dangerous halberd. Because he was unfortunately currently incredibly ill and desperately needed a professional secretary, Agent Hirai Mina successfully infiltrated his massive company, acting as his personal secretary. On Ikeju's side, because experiencing the outside world remained incredibly rare recently, he happily continued thoroughly savoring every moment. Entering his cold hibernation pod meant absolutely nobody knew his awakening. Ikeju wisely advised Guy that any important personal plans require immediate swift action. He ordered Guy exploring completely, because this beautiful scenery might look entirely different upon returning. All chrysalis hosts must constantly hibernate, making enjoying normal human life entirely impossible, leaving them solely capable of passionately committing their incredibly brief waking moments to memory. That memory essentially proved their very fragile existence inside this world wasn't just some meaningless illusion. Ikeju sincerely asked Guy what exactly he deeply searched for originally. Returning to the massive conglomerate, the absolute moment Miki saw Mina again, he passionately kissed her lips. Thanks to Mina, they quickly discovered an executive floor hidden entirely underneath. The legendary halberd was safely kept downstairs. The complex ventilation ducts leading downwards connected directly through men's restrooms. Mina successfully arranged acquiring essential elevator keycards, detailed floor maps, and secret safe passwords for Miki. Before she left, she urgently warned him to be careful since building security was incredibly strict. Using the keycard, they smoothly rode the elevator down to the basement. Marcus' sword Azoth carried Paracelsus' devil seal. He used its dark power to cloak them in shadows, rendering them totally invisible to security cameras. They reached the safe smoothly, but unfortunately there was another safe inside and Mina lacked its password. Marcus leaned in closer to investigate and was instantly hit by a retinal scan, triggering an authorization failure alarm. The small room began filling with gas. Marcus desperately slashed the inner safe using Azoth, but failed to break it. Their only option was waiting for Mina to discover the password. While Mina frantically searched for the code, Sekio unexpectedly arrived. She desperately pretended to check his daily medication, but he saw right through her. Only then did Mina realize Sekio knew her plan all along, and the halberd was never inside. She quickly relayed this terrible news to Miki. Sekio drew the halberd to violently punish the traitor Mina. His guards rushed toward the safe room, but Miki and Marcus were already gone. The two raced to Mina's location, attempting rescue. Miki bravely took a heavy blow meant for Mina, becoming seriously wounded. Marcus seized his moment while Sekio focused on Miki, striking him down heavily from behind. With its host dead, the halberd immediately latched onto Miki, causing agonizing pain. Because a death occurred, they had to quickly flee before police arrived. Miki's severe wounds miraculously healed quickly, and they successfully recovered the halberd. However, Miki wasn't hurrying back to Shoshidai. He wanted to enjoy whatever time remained outside with Mina. Once they returned, neither knew when they might see each other again. Marcus completely understood, so he quietly left them alone. Mina remained deeply worried about Miki's condition, considering his body now housed two swords, but Miki remained confident in his strength. In truth, both swords inside him were constantly urging him to kill. However, for now, Miki could successfully keep them under control. Miki took Mina to a beautiful park, and they spent the entire day having the time of their lives. It was their very first outing together beyond the base's walls. While they passionately kissed, The chaotic voices in Mickey's head violently surged back. He terrifiedly felt himself rapidly losing control and urged Mina to quickly run. Kyoka, seeing the situation spiraling, quickly contacted Ikju to handle it. Mickey deeply genuinely didn't want to hurt Mina, so he used the last shred of his reason to quickly flee, but an incredibly concerned Mina foolishly ran after him. By then, Mickey had unfortunately entirely lost control and brutally attacked Mina. Marcus tried desperately to completely hold him back. Ikju quickly arrived as well and expertly used the chakram to successfully draw Mickey's attention completely toward himself. After engaging Mickey, Ikju luckily realized he completely hadn't yet fully transformed into a true Busoma. However, the situation remained incredibly dire nonetheless. Shiryu violently constantly trembled without ceasing, feeling incredibly desperate to join the bloody fight. Mickey shockingly violently shattered Ikju's supposedly unbreakable chakram ring. Guy completely had absolutely zero remaining choice, except reluctantly entering the intense battle. In a highly critical split moment, Ikju bravely used his own physical body to successfully shield Guy from a brutally heavy blow. Mina loudly called out Mickey's name in sheer anguish, begging him to quickly wake up and completely stop. While Mickey's remaining human reason fiercely wrestled violently against the two dark swords for complete control, Guy aggressively charged completely forward and forcefully drove his sharp blade deeply into Mickey's bleeding shoulder. The immense sheer pain violently brought Mickey heavily crashing downwards to the ground, and he miraculously reverted entirely back to his normal human form. They urgently rushed him entirely completely right safely directly back toward base for complete immediate detailed examination, although they amazingly effectively successfully managed to entirely prevent Mickey from unfortunately permanently entirely successfully becoming an incredibly terrifying full Busoma this exact specific time. However, internally continuously harboring two active Olma cores meant he could unfortunately violently completely entirely rapidly successfully transform at absolutely completely essentially genuinely exactly any given highly random precise moment, and safely hibernating inside his specialized pod would entirely definitely no longer completely be practically realistically fully completely enough. We must quickly retrieve weapons. Mina promised hibernation would help. Mickey felt both happy and guilty. Mickey shared his dream. He envisioned two children. Cozy home. Facing his wife's wrath, Mickey bravely proposed to Mina. Red smoke suddenly corroded Mickey in sleep. Mina watched without showing grief. Shin heard Shiryu crying. Weeping amplified. Shin assumed it sought its kindred. A guest proposed an orphanage. Building found. An abandoned school. The beautiful place seemed perfectly suited. Shin happily invested. Another proposed a nursing home there. Already claimed. Sayaka missed Guy that evening. She struggled with his sudden departure. Amon said Shiryu guided his fate. Guy chose the sword. Sayaka failed to understand. She fled. Amon lingered. Scabbards let swords choose their destinies. Humanity became his scabbard. Choices remained. Amon awaited his choice. Sayaka gazed upward. She alone understood Guy. Uncertainty plagued her. Her young savior. Memories surfaced. A wild wolf confronted Sayaka. Guy bravely shielded her from the bite. Walking homeward, Guy watched the moon. Guy gazed alone. Ikijo approached. Having nothing left breeds weakness. Causing weakness, Shin inspected it. The two parties argued. Shin combined both facilities into one. Elders watched the children. Everyone agreed immediately. Sayaka remained unhappy there. Friends invited her out. Sayaka agreed. Kaijisu met with Kazuma. Kazuma apologized profusely. Kaijisu held no grudge. Gabai learned much. The enemy Busoma vanished. Kaijisu suggested their two sides cooperate. Gabai fought using unarmed bodies, requiring intense daily training for everyone. Gabai despised weapons and their wielders. Guy cooked for Akijo. Why did Akijo stay? Survival. Hosts inevitably became Busoma. Hibernation delayed. Akijo feared losing himself. Guy misunderstood this clinging. Akijo explained. Once, Akijo fought alongside. Grenades killed comrades. Grave wounds. Enemies charged toward him. The chakram appeared. Healing, he eliminated every enemy. A photograph stopped his mindless killing. Love restored his sanity. Wield weapons only to protect loved ones. Otherwise fragile. Sayaka remained utterly joyless. Meeting Shin. Collecting signatures. Izumi Park faced demolition. Locals loved it. Shin stepped in to help. Sayaka signed. Thugs blocked her. Shin suffered beatings. Sayaka stayed. Thugs targeted Midoriko. Their final fatal mistake. Midoriko moved to attack them both. Guy blocked her. Shin noticed. Shiryu. Akijo briefly met the departing Zoltuan. Pain surged. Chakram was changing. Midoriko fled their brief duel. Sayaka offered help. Guy refused her. He coldly dismissed Sayaka. Sayaka watched him leave. New transfer student. Shin transferred. Shoshidai disguised Mina as Marcus's former girlfriend. Aya monitored Marcus now. Marcus woke up. He met Aya. She resembled Erika. Aya became his assigned new counselor. Felt shy. Breaking the ice. She lied about Mickey's hibernation. Marcus confided. Weapons changed people terrifyingly. Marcus feared becoming a Busoma. Aya offered him comfort. Still fearing transformation. Aya hugged him closely. Erika did this before. He mistook her. Exactly intended. Akijo taught Guy. Host suffered terminal illnesses. Incurable. Weapons eventually consumed their entire being. Sage Ulma manipulated humans. Shiryu crystallized rarely. Shoshidai preserved Sage Ulma. Hosts lived isolated for careful study. They hibernated. Shoshidai researched cures. Until cures perfected. Shin's languages brought attention but also attracted school bullies. Sayaka bravely shouted for a teacher. Bullies retreated. They talked. Sayaka explained Guy was a younger brother. Kyoka furiously greeted Akijo. He ignored her past messages. Kyoka ordered hibernation, but Akijo refused it. He discovered Kyoka was Miura's daughter. Akijo targeted Miura personally, repaying old debts, saving her father. Kyoka lacked authority for fights. She recalled her mother, fearing further loss. Leadership dismissed requests. Unnecessary. Miura fell 10 years ago. They completed new weapons to use against Zoltuan. They refused, reversing his condition for tarnishing legacies. Kyoka had to comply. Akijo brought Guy to the vault. Fighting Zalwan risked becoming a Busoma, but only a chrysalis could win. Victory required synchronizing with the inner Ulma core. Prolonged synchronization accelerated the Busoma transformation. These cursed weapons desired blood and war. They consumed the host's human heart. Leaving the vault, they met Marcus and Aya. Marcus believed Shoshidai would restore their humanity. After school, Sayaka joined a club, avoiding her empty home. Seeing this, Shin joined the same club. While others sketched vases, Shin drew Sayaka. Zalwan's endless slaughter continued. Heavy infantry deployed, but was instantly annihilated. New mechanized armor units entered the fray. They managed to hold Zulwan back. Kyoka remembered her gentle father teaching her piano. Kyoka recalled Miura discussing Ikijo. Miura called him lazy but dependable, earning her trust. Ikijo took Guy along. Watching the screen, Kyoka recalled her father's final goodbye. Uneasy, she had hugged him tightly, begging for his safe return. Miura simply smiled, patted her head and left. After that, Miura transformed. The armor couldn't hold Zulwan for long. Now 2 old friends would clash. Ikijo promised Miura they would share a drink in the afterlife. Knowing time was short, Ikijo made Guy promise to defeat him if he turned. Guy promised. Ikijo wanted Guy to face his own weakness. Facing Miura, Ikijo asked what fear drove him to this power. Zulwan struck first. Ikijo fought hard to free Miura. They once agreed Ikijo would punch Miura if he ever lost himself. Neither imagined it would actually happen. Watching the screen, Kyoka prayed Ikijo could save him. After club, Shin gave Sayaka her portrait. Sayaka accepted her new friend's gift. Shin's butler arrived to pick him up. Zulwan's assault continued. Ikijo's light rings shattered individually. Luckily, one managed to bind Zulwan. As Ikijo prepared a final blow, pain struck him down. Zulwan broke free and wounded Ikijo. Zulwan demanded Ikijo fight at full power, but he refused. Guy intervened to buy Ikijo recovery time. Above, Grims watched with satisfaction. Ikijo awaited an opening for a fatal strike. He unleashed a barrage of light rings. While Zulwan destroyed them, Guy surged forward and struck. Hope of victory flickered. Ikijo hurled a massive ring while Guy charged. The battle nearly concluded, but Grims intercepted Guy. Zulwan kneeled in deference. Grimm's arrival filled Kyoka with dread. Zulwan withdrew, leaving them to face Grimm's. Guy sensed Grimm's killing intent far exceeded ordinary Busoma. Kazuma returned to base to find Himiko. He reported Soin's death at the waterfall. Himiko felt she remained too weak. She sensed violent energy from a distant battle. Himiko cleansed herself beneath the falls to prevent demonic corruption. She reminded Kazuma to maintain his focus. At home, Sayaka opened Shin's portrait. The painted girl looked deeply sorrowful. She had looked like this since Guy left. Gazing at their photo, she wondered when he'd return. Ikijo recognized Grims, the god of death. This was his first time facing him. Knowing the danger, Kyoka ordered a retreat. Ikijo lacked the strength to escape now. He wanted Guy to flee, but Guy refused. Witnessing Grimm's power, Guy remained ready to fight. Grimm's proclaimed the end of humanity and the Busoma dawn, shattering human shells to build a new world. Busoma would be reborn now. Guy charged in, silencing the speech. Ikijo couldn't let Guy fight alone. Later, Shin attended the Matoba Foundation's anniversary gala. Sayaka remembered Guy's hurtful words while viewing their photo. She couldn't understand his cruel words, yet she kept hoping he'd return. Shin took the stage for Matoba Group. He spoke against violence. Human history was steeped in it. War and terrorism still lurked everywhere. It concerned everyone equally. Shin urged them to cast aside weapons and embrace peace. Meanwhile, Guy and Ikijo fought desperately. Ikijo was spent. Grimm struck a devastating blow. Pushed to the brink, Guy began transforming into a Busoma. Ikijo tried to stop him, lacking strength. Grims wanted them both to become Busoma. Guy kept rising after every strike. Shoryu's temptation grew stronger. Sayaka awoke to find their framed photograph shattered. She dreaded something terrible befell Guy. Ikijo restrained Guy with light rings to no avail. Guy broke free, driving his blade through Ikijo. Ikijo's sacrifice restored Guy,